Hey Econ teachers, this is Jacob Clifford. Now I want to make a quick video talking about efficiency in the classroom, some strategies and ideas that can speed up the process and make kind of tedious tasks go a little faster. And of course there's no more tedious task than grading. Grading is tough. So I've got two strategies when it comes to grading. Most teachers, they have two sections to test: the written response and then the multiple choice. So, or just a written response. But at some point the students have to actually draw the graphs, particularly in supply and demand. I gotta grade those for responses. And since we're gonna do exam corrections, see other video, you do the free response first. Give the students a free response first before you do the multiple choice. So while the kids are doing the multiple choice, you're sitting there gunning out those free responses, and you can get most of them done, maybe take a few home that night. But if you do the multiple choice first and then the free response, then you're doing them all at home. And for me, since the test is such a large portion of their grade, it's really important that I don't allow other students to grade those free responses. It just messes up the incentive. So I don't allow, in my class, students to grade each other's free responses on exams, but I do it for homework. I have these things called problem sets that I give out. So okay, here's the things that need to get done before the end of the unit. It's a big giant packet. Get this done. And I'll assign it along the way, but I'm not going to check it. They're not going to bring it in throughout the actual unit. And then before the test, the day before the test, the kids come in and we grade that problem set. But of course, you know, if I graded it myself, it would take forever. So I have the students help grade each other's, but that's just on the problem set. So I pick the easiest questions, the ones that are easiest. I have a rubric with the PowerPoint, and okay, they get 1 point if they do this, get 1 point if they do this. So it's like a very clear rubric, like a free response. Okay, here's where, you know, I want you to grade the other people's problem set. And then they actually have to keep track of where the points are. So on my problem set, it says, you know, a blank out of 5. How many did you get? Blank out of 10 points on these different parts. So the person whose problem set got graded can look back, okay, where did I lose points and why? If you have a problem with how somebody graded your problem set, come see me at the end of the class. I'll look over it and I'll, you know, rechange it up. Maybe 4 or 5 students will come up at the end of the class per class and, you know, say there's some sort of mistake and I'll have to regrade those. But it saves me so much time. But there's a lot of times I still have problem sets to grade or pieces of problem sets to grade. So what do you do? So I still don't know if this is illegal or against any district policy for my school district, but I pay students to come in after school and help me grade. So I grab 2 students, say, listen, and of course they're really strong students who I could trust, say, listen, I'll pay you $5 an hour if you come after school today and help me grade. And so, you know, all the other students leave, we're just in the room working with each other. You know, they're sitting chairs right here so they can ask me questions. And we, okay, you're in charge of question 3A and B, you're in charge of question 4A and B, and I'm grading this for response. And so we kind of pass these packets around and we get the classes done as soon as possible. Now again, $5, you know, it only takes an hour to get it done. You know, the $5, they're happy with that. It's a wage like, that was worth my opportunity cost. I don't do bonus points, specifically because I don't want one student to find out that I'm giving bonus points to some other kids for helping grade. Why didn't you invite me to grade? I would have got a better grade had, you know, you told me to come grade. So I leave that out. I just pay them money because that's going to cover their opportunity costs, and I think that's fair. So let's switch from grading to instruction. Now, one of the things I do at my workshops, I tell teachers it's very inefficient to call on individual students. For example, it's Monday morning and I want to review last week's topic or last week's ideas, and I say, okay, John, what's the law of demand? Of course, no one else is paying attention. John's barely paying attention. He's looking at his notes. And eventually, you know, he doesn't know, so you ask, you know, okay, who knows the law of demand? And someone raised their hand. You know, Sarah raised her hand, you call on Sarah, and she tells the law of demand. Sarah is the last person in the room who you want to tell you the law of demand. She already knows the law of demand. The point of reviewing is to help the people who don't quite get it or don't quite remember to get it, right? So calling on individual students is very inefficient use of time. You call on one student, 35 other students aren't even listening. They don't care because like, well, I didn't get called on. It's not me you're asking. And that opens the door to behavior issues and all sorts of other issues. So it's very inefficient. So in my classroom, what I do is this. I put up a list of the vocab from last week or concepts from last week, and I say, okay, and my class is automatically in 2s. So my class is already in 2s. Like, okay, person on the right-hand side, do number 1. Person left-hand side, do number 2. Right-hand side, do number 3. And go back and forth, do all 10 of these, and I'm going to call on 10 students for the right answers. Now, how many students are engaged? Every single student. Every single student is engaged. They're talking about the vocab. They're, you know, working with the person next to them. To pull this off, though, you've got to have students feel comfortable working with each other. So the strategy comes with a culture. If you've never had your students work together and then you take the strategy and go, okay, work with your partner, you might have kids like, partner. I don't even know that girl's name. Like, that's not my partner. So I spent a lot of time. If you haven't seen my boot camp program, take a look at it. I do a lot of skill building activities at the beginning of the year, a lot of team building activities basically to get students comfortable working with each other so I can run activities like this, and it makes it so much faster. I do the same thing for free responses. So I'll give out free responses, right? Have them work individually, and then, for 4 minutes, and say, okay, now you got 3 minutes to talk to your partner. They're working and talking to the partner, and they're getting that individualized attention that they actually need. Point is, if you've ever been to one of my workshops, you know I'm a big fan of pair share. I'm a huge fan of getting students working with each other, particularly in econ, right? In econ, it's not like this content's super hard. It's not like there's really difficult concepts where students are like, I don't get any of this. There's just misinformation. The kid's like, okay, I don't understand. Where's quantity demanded? Like, I don't quite understand how you calculated that, right? And another person will be, oh, here's how I got it. Like, oh, okay, now I get it. It's going to go a lot faster than students who've never worked with each other, who don't feel comfortable giving or getting help from their peers. Now, my fourth strategy to have more efficiency in the classroom is probably the most controversial. I don't have my students do notes. I know this sounds weird, but I don't have my students do traditional notes that you might see. And the reason why is because a lot of times students are taking notes, but they're not listening to what I'm talking about. So a lot of times in class, I say, okay, put your pencils down, all right, put your pencils down, now listen to me, right? And then pick your pencils up and we'll go back. So I'll do a PowerPoint and I'll show them like 6 slides or something. I'll go through something, give you some definitions, understand it. And I'll tell them ahead of time, listen, don't write anything. Okay, let's talk about it, and then at the end we'll go back and then we can write down the definition of those concepts. So I have done that in the past. A couple years ago I switched to just no notes at all in class. I just want you to listen to me and fill out the ultimate review packet. So I didn't do the ultimate review packet in the end of the year. I did it throughout the year. 1 year, basically, I gave my students the ultimate review packet before I even called it the ultimate review packet or sold it. And I said, okay, here, try this. For the AP review, AP exam review. And the students were filling it out and they're like, this is really good, Mr. Clifford. Why didn't we do this the whole year? And I was like, yeah, why? It makes more sense for students to review and really get it early on as opposed to just rip for the AP test. So I did that. I said, okay, all right. And I gave them basically these unit study guides. And as the kids were listening to me, they pay attention, interact with me, interact with the content. On their notes, a lot of times I just go, okay, number 1 through 5 on your notes. So their notes isn't just notes, it's like practice. It's all practice. So 1 through 5, now do these calculations or do this or do that. Basically, the ultimate review packet is guided notes. It's guided notes. Understand the concept, write the definition. Understand the concept, do those practice questions. Understand the concept, draw that graph. So that's how I teach in class. PowerPoint, explaining the concept. All right, now fill out this section of the ultimate review packet. All right, you got that? All right, now try these practice questions in the ultimate review packet, or try these practice questions on my PowerPoint. So basically, I don't do traditional notes because I can go a lot quicker and my students learn faster because they're not thinking, okay, I gotta write this down so I get it. They realize that writing it down doesn't mean you're going to get it. Writing it down helps you get it, but it doesn't mean you're going to get it. What makes you get it is doing those practice questions. So I kind of cut out the note-taking part and replace it with the practice that students need to make sure they actually understand the concept. Again, I don't know if that's controversial. I don't know if that's what you do in your class. I love to find out, and I love to find out what tips you have for being more efficient in the classroom in the comments below. The last strategy to make your class more efficient, I mentioned in a video when we talked about the idea of me coming out to your school. Basically, the idea is this. I give bonus points to students for bringing in really cool stuff that I've never seen that I can share with the classroom. So it's always great if you have the time to do current events, particularly in a macro class. That's awesome. But keep in mind, you gotta watch out time-wise. So in a college prep, regular econ class, we'll do some sort of current events where I assign kids a day. And it's okay, make sure you're talking about a topic of something we talked about in the last 2 weeks, share what the article talks about and stuff like that. If they need help, come to me, I'll help you. But basically, current events are awesome, but on top of current events, on top of the assignment, I give bonus points if students bring in something that's super applicable to what we're talking about right now. And what that does, and here's the efficiency point, it helps me find more stuff, right? It's the whole idea of the benefits of trade, right? I only have so much time to spend on finding articles and videos and other things that are pertaining to class and to the content we're learning. But if students go and help me, then I'm more than welcome to compensate them with bonus points for that time and energy they spent. Now, of course, I'll negotiate with them, right? I'll teach them some negotiation skills. If a kid goes, oh, give me 30 bonus points, be like, listen, no, what do you got? We'll negotiate. And if it's something really good, I'll be honest, be like, listen, this is really cool. I've never seen this before. This is really awesome. If it's something I have seen before, I'll be like, yeah, well, I've seen it before. I'll give you 1 bonus point, right, for it. Also, it allows students to get out there and think about and talk about these ideas. Get on the internet, be searching around for them. Not only connects them more to the content in the first place. So again, it's a great way to get students to a few bonus points and have an incentive to find things that are connected to your classroom. Hey, as always, thank you so much for watching these videos. Please subscribe and let me know what you want in the comments below, right? I'm just kind of picking and choosing ideas out here that I'm not sure about, but if you tell me to make something, say, hey, make a video that covers this or covers that, I'll do it. Thanks again for watching, inviting your students to watch my other channel. Until next time.